1. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the Queens of Venn, a Mouseguard role-playing game. With this amazing group of people around me, I'm not actually the storyteller. I'm just here to say hi, hello, and don't forget to check out our sponsors. If someone could hit ! Sponsor for me in chat, that would be super helpful because we would love for you to show your love to Roll20, Tabletop Loot, So Nerdware, and Devin Rue, the amazing sponsors of our channel. Go say hi, and there's some codes in there for you to get.
Wow.
How you doing, Connie?
Pistol, we really starting off like that, are we?
She went all the way.
We doing okay?
Yeah, gotta be all right.
Okay. Yeah, check out our amazing sponsors. And remember, every 500 bits donated to the channel gives our players a little bit of a benefit. With that, I'm going to throw it over to 4 and get us started for the day.
Excellent. Hello, everybody. My name is 4, and I'll be guiding you along this journey into Mouseguard. We are in episode 8, which is quite a while into our story, but I am confident you will be able to digest the current confluence of drama with mice. These mice are just like any other mice. They're this big, and they're pretty smart. I mean, they are really smart. They build little villages and towns and industry, and they are warriors and rangers and all sorts of other occupations. But they are also prey. Everything is out there to get them, including falcons, hawks, other flying things, and things that crawl on the ground, like snakes and sometimes foxes who actually jump into the ground to get them. But thankfully, the Mouseguard, an organization of great warriors and thinkers alike, are there to protect the mouse territories. And that is where our players come in. They are mice of the guard, here to protect and deliver mail. This time, they're delivering something a little more important. We'll get to the recap in a moment, but I would like all of you to introduce yourselves, your characters, and give us a rundown on your belief and something that you did cool recently in the campaign. I'll leave it over to Throck.
Gosh, why do I have to start? Your faith in me is awesome. Hi, I'm Throck, and I am playing Thane, and my belief is that my patrol mates are in my care. It is my duty to ensure their safety, and I've been mostly doing that. There's been a couple times where haven't been able to fail, but that's what makes a good, or haven't been able to succeed, but that's what makes a good story. The coolest thing I did recently was have a long conversation with the Queen of Venn and start to make her think that maybe, and we really did this as a group, that maybe she's being led astray by her, by the people who advise her. And now she's with us as we go back to Lockhaven, which is pretty great.
It's pretty great. And we'll go down to Zed.
I'm chewing.
Okay. Thistle!
Hey, I'm Connie O, and I am playing Thistle Bristle. They have a belief that everyone is hiding something, and therefore they must distrust everyone. However, recently, a few acquaintances have started making them question this belief. One of the cool things they did was they tail whipped some rather nasty people with a knife and got them off our tails so that we could escape with the queen.
With the queen! Sorry.
Most excellent. Mr. Neuro.
Me. Hi, I'm Neuro, also known as Stroud. I am the local scientist / apiarist / the guy who probably thinks too much about data on the daily basis within the group. My belief is, and it's shifted several times, but it's gone back to the norm baseline, hopefully, is that regardless of the challenges, thoughtful rationality always prevails. And in terms of what I did last time, I chopped off an ant's head and slathered its head all over the door just so a swarm of ants would not get us.
You did
That
that.
was pretty
Yeah.
fun. It's pretty
It's
gory.
pretty intense.
That was crazy.
I had my moment in the spotlight.
And now, Mr. Zed.
I guess it seemed like we were going for a Bela Lugosi thing. Hello, my name is Finn. No, hi, I'm Finn. Zed Finn. I am not quite an old fur, but certainly not a young one. And my whole deal is that I attempt to back up the captain's orders and make sure that we get everything done correctly. I'm also pretty sort of preoccupied with guiding and training the younger mice, specifically Thistle, who needs a fair amount of guiding and training. And
Hashtag
yeah,
not wrong.
I killed someone recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was nutty. But I think probably the cooler thing was us, like, as a group, convincing the queen. Like, yes, she was being led astray before ethically. Now she has been led astray physically. But we're getting her morally on the right path, if not physically near her throat.
Yes.
The important thing is that she's trying.
Yes. She
Most
will soon.
excellent.
She will soon be an ethically sound queen in exile.
Well, there we go. Speaking of which, who wants to do the prologue and possibly earn some free nature points / free condition removal?
Thistle is surprisingly good right now, so someone else should definitely.
I'm injured. Is anybody else injured?
I thought I'd launched it. Hang on. I was on the page. I clicked the button. Apparently, it didn't go. I know I'm a little messed up. Oh yeah, my nature is. I could use some nature.
Why don't you go ahead then?
I have a nature of
Yeah, I
0
think your
right now.
nature was pretty wacky last time.
Yeah, yeah. My rating is down to 0 out of 3.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
what was your original?
4.
Okay, put it at back up to 3-3.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so let's see. So last time we were imprisoned after a trial, and it was a comfortable jail. It was nicely padded, but we were not technically supposed to go anywhere. We waited a little while. The queen came along and meant to sort of have a meal with us and discuss things. And while we were initially not trusting of this, it turned out that she actually was legitimately open to hearing what we had to say, and was not at all what we had expected. This led to us sort of sharing some of the information we had found and her presumably connecting that to things she already knew, and us all coming to this sort of conclusion at the same time of, oh, this maybe looks not great. And then while we were coming to that conclusion, someone attempted to take her out through the use of angry ants that they assaulted the area with. So we fought our way out, Stroud being particularly heroic to begin with by using his knowledge of ant pheromones and such to help limit their paths to entry to get to us through an expert use of ant gibs. And then we fought our way through some tunnels to try to get out. We fought a bunch of what were they? Were they weasels?
A mix. There was a weasel and a daughter of Krotik.
Yes. And the daughter whose name I don't recall.
I do, because it's in my notes. Onan.
Yes. She was getting all up in our biz, trying to take out the queen, because she had she just been exiled? Is that what the problem was?
No, that was the possum daughter.
That's right. I don't recall.
Sidwell.
That's right. I don't recall exactly what Onam's motivation was, or if we
She
actually
seemed to
found out.
be on a murder craze. It seemed that there were a lot of different rebellions going on.
Okay. So she was trying to seize power one way or the other. And so we ended up fighting and took her out, took out her minions. There was a lot of good shots from various different people. Thistle got in some really good ones. Stroud got in some really good ones. Thane, I believe, tagged a couple of people. No? Yes?
Not
No?
really. Not well.
The thing started out as a chase conflict, so I think
Yes.
that's more Thane style.
Yeah.
I was pathfinding. I'll let you all fight.
And then it ended with Finn and Thistle taking her out. Through it all, we also thought we were betrayed by Moira from the prior trial, but it turned out maybe not so much. I still have some doubts, but she gave a fairly plausible reasoning. But I'm just naturally paranoid, so. And then we made it back across the ocean and are on our way towards Lockhaven with the princess, her bodyguard, and a lot of information about what they were doing over there to try to weaponize bees.
Indeed.
If I remember correctly. And I think that puts us to current, right?
I think so as well, because the last thing you guys did was Moira rejoined your group and tried to explain herself. And on top of all that, you passed the harbor of the island of Venn, and it was in rough straits. And now you guys are on your way to Shorestone, correct?
Yes.
All right. Moving towards Shorestone leaves all of you with a very long journey in which you can rest up as best you can, and if you have any particular things you need to spell out to each other or other characters, yeah, now's the time.
First thing, I'd like to try and heal myself.
All right, with a healer check.
Well, I have one wound, so I don't have healer as a skill.
Can I?
Oh yeah,
that's right.
hang on, Stroud, I'm hurt. Help me.
That's gonna cost you. I'm teasing. No,
Okay.
that's.
What do you want me to pay?
I am injured also, it turns out.
Oh my
Lordy.
god, I did a number on you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My poor fur.
Do I have like a mass heal thing? I don't know, just like.
I'd say you can heal both of them, but make 2 rolls for each of them. Make sure you designate which is first and which is second.
Okay.
And we'll see how this passes through on the journey. The journey is going to be about maybe 2 to 3 days.
Okay. Am I gonna get any assistance on the heals?
If I don't think I have anything I can
I
help
think
with.
those are hard to do.
I know.
They
which
are this is obstacle 3, I believe.
Okay.
I could assist you with
He's really trying.
Right? Thistle can definitely help because they have the laborer skill.
Oh, it's so useful.
Means that they can cut up bandages, hold them in place while you're sticking needles in them, all kinds of useful stuff.
I could
Cut off circulation with long tail.
Yes.
I could assist you with tough by not passing out when you try to do painful things to me.
Fortunately, you can only help yourself with traits.
Well then.
Okay, so
No.
I guess
I can tell you that we're going to have decent weather while you're working.
All right, I guess I'm just gonna have Thistle's help on this one for both of you. So I'm gonna run first for Thane, and then afterwards to Zed, or in this case, let's see how this goes.
Finland.
Well, that's not 3 successes.
My boo.
No, it's not.
So you failed unless you want to use a fate point to possibly re-roll. What's your wise again?
I have medicine wise.
Do you want to use a fate point or persona point to re-roll?
I'll use a fate point because I want to make sure. And now I have it, so I can
Right.
re-roll all of my.
Ooh, just one. Persona
Just one.
is all, and fate point is 1.
I only have 2 persona points.
Yeah, I bled you guys with persona points last session. It was great.
Okay, you know, I'm going to risk my 1 persona point. I'll do this again.
I love you.
I know.
Hey.
Yeah.
No wait.
Oh, you did the whole thing.
That's not right.
Oh no.
Wait, am I supposed to? Oh,
Oh, it's
This is
just
the fails.
1 dice for
Oh,
fate
it's just-
point.
That's right.
It's all your fails for persona.
I was using persona. Sorry. to
Okay,
re-roll.
okay. Then, you know what? Should I? No. Roll 3. Roll 3.
Yeah,
roll
I'll
3
do-
dice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
roll
do
3.
Yeah.
All
Even
right.
better.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Yeah.
All
Into
right.
it.
All right,
Stroud
now
is the
I'm
best
gonna.
doctor ever. Thank you, Stroud.
I know. I'm teasing, not really. But anyways, I'm gonna.
Don't forget to mark your successes.
Too true.
I am. All right.
And there is Finn.
Everyone's healed.
So both of you are going to remove the injured condition.
Yay.
To we had, I think it was Thistle who had theirs fail last time, and I got to reduce one of your skills or stats, and it was pretty great.
Yes.
Yes.
But
That happened.
it's not going to happen to these two.
I just glad I didn't have to use that persona point with Finn. So. Sorry, Finn.
Okay. So Shorestone
Oh,
is going to. Oh,
I'm sorry. I had another thing I wanted to do,
go ahead.
if that's okay. I've been angry for 3 sessions straight. And
So
I feel like killing that person and rescuing the queen would be enough to help me maybe get out of my anger.
It's a little concerning that you first went for I killed a person.
Well, because you've spent the angry energy, right? Like I got my frustrations out.
Right?
With the stabs.
And I think I will let you do 1 will check, but only because you are on a boat and you are sailing and it is calm. That is the reason, not I killed somebody.
Okay. I'm on a boat.
Mother, don't you ever forget.
Okay, so how many successes do I need?
I think you need 2. Let me double check. Yep. Obstacle 2 will check.
Hey,
About time.
wow, straight 4s.
Well done.
All right.
Look at those 4 4s. 4 4s, 4 successes.
I have finally found my chill. I'd left it on the boat apparently, and it's called my guard cloak.
We are proud of you.
Yeah, guard cloak's back. That's nice.
Oh yeah.
Thistle
All right.
watches jealousy as you pet your wonderful cloaks.
Oh.
Yeah, you're certainly not getting one this year.
Oh.
All right. You are no longer angry. What does that look like? Do you stay below for the entire ride, or do you find something in particular to reminisce on to let your anger dwindle?
I actually will spend my time on the deck, staring out at the water and just sort of remembering my much simpler, happier childhood, building boats and making little like canoes and taking them out onto the waters and remembering what it was like to not be trying to solve the problems of entire kingdoms.
Yeah, those were the days.
Drink with me.
And we will be pulling into the harbor of the beautiful Shorestone. If you guys have any plans initially, because you have one ferret and one weasel on board, as well as a vole, and what you intend to do with the queen, the queen of Venn.
I think our intention with the Queen of Venn team is to take her to Lockhaven, have her meet with the boss lady, explain the situation, and figure out what the heck happens next. Because I feel like we can't go any further without orders. Agree, disagree?
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
Yeah.
We must keep her safe.
Sure.
And also secret?
As for our dear friends, the crew of this boat, I think it's okay for us to bid them adieu as we cross back into Mouse territory. And just the 5 of us go to Lockhaven.
Just you and the queen and not her bodyguard?
Her bodyguard is the vole, right?
The weasel.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the vole is
oh, no, the vole's a boat maker. Yeah.
Get off my boat!
Yeah.
she yells as she pulls into port.
Yeah.
Thank Moira,
you,
the ferret.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're welcome. What else do you want from me? The beating heart of my first mate?
No, you can keep your first mate. We don't need that. We're just very appreciative that you were willing to both build us a boat, take us there and back again.
Well, I had some help.
And she gives Finn a big drum on the back.
But we go inland now, and so I want to thank you again for everything you've done for us.
Well, it was a good way to spend a weekend.
Sure.
Not every day you see a queendom collapse under its infernal corruption.
Agree.
And Moira, much more calmly with her goodbyes, says, I'm going to try to get Skexel to at least keep an eye on the waters and see who's coming and going from Venn.
That would be very appreciated.
Again, I'm very sorry for what's happened.
We're doing our best with it.
We are.
Yeah. As for you, friend bodyguard.
Rockshall.
Rockshall.
Yes.
You are going to be a weasel in a land of mice who hate weasels, as opposed to the land of mice you were in where they didn't hate weasels.
Correction. I'm going to be a weasel in a land of mice who are afraid of weasels.
Yes, although I look at Finn and go,
narrow my eyes.
I'm pretty sure some of them hate weasels.
I'm coming around on the idea, but it's a slow process.
How do we keep you from causing alarm?
Well, we could put... let's get a big blanket and just cover...
No.
we could too big for that.
We could get a cart if we could.
The queen actually raises a hand and says, I have an idea. Ooh.
Yeah, yes?
Well, it seems that, from what I understand, you're just very suspicious on the mainland about other animals, unless they are subservient.
I'm sorry. I will be right back. my cat just decided to projectile vomit over a wall.
Wow.
That is impressive. Yeah. Nicely
I
done,
jinxed
cat.
it. I jinxed everyone on that one.
Yeah, the pre-show talk was full of cat vomit.
Yeah.
But,
we'll talk about the implication of you calling them subservient in a moment. However, no. The animals here are wild and hunt us, from bird to weasel. They live their own lives, and that means that they attempt to eat us.
Sir, if I may remind you of your own plan.
I completely forgot what it was over 2 weeks. What was my own plan, Thistle?
We were going to pretend that he was a prisoner.
Oh,
Put
that's right.
shackles on him.
He's going to be a Wookiee. I mean, yes. We were going to put shackles on him and take him down to the cell block. You were correct.
well, I would rather, if Rokusho, you don't mind, just think of it as an extended piggyback for me.
I'm
Wouldn't
sorry,
you?
what now?
I will ride my own bodyguard, giving him the perfect camouflage.
I don't think that's... How is that camouflage again? It's still a
Because
weasel that's
because
wild.
we'll get a bridle, and we'll get a lovely saddle. We'll brush his fur, and we'll march through your roads. In triumph.
Triumph?
I don't know
lost your
about triumph.
queendom.
More like
Yeah, it's no triumph,
like
really.
a tour. Perhaps?
And here's the thing. If anyone here knows who you are, that puts you in danger. So having you sitting high up on a very odd mount is not exactly a way to keep you circumspect.
But
It's
it
not
is
that I
what I
don't-
deserve.
Perhaps. But perhaps in your own land is what you deserve. Here, we want to keep you safe. Yes, Stroud?
If we can get him to Spruce Tuck, we can put it under the guise of the fact that it's part of a research initiative for us between the borders. But the problem is it goes back to square one about us getting him from Shorestone all the way to Spruce Tuck without getting noticed.
Yeah, and we need to get to
apologize.
Lockhaven.
Have we already discussed the notion of pulling a Chewbacca?
Yes.
Yes.
Thistle was kind enough to remind me of my own plan. Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
which
this not what we're doing?
It is now, I think. I think it is the right call. I'm sorry, Queen. You will not be riding your bodyguard because it makes you too obvious. So we're bringing a prisoner back to Lockhaven.
All right. And Rockshall. So, who's going to carry my sword?
I think
Sam?
if we very lightly tie some ropes around you that you could get out of on your own. I agree. Someone should carry your sword. You shouldn't be visibly armed, even tied up, but I can carry it.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
All right. Suppose it's a matter of indignity I will have to survive, no doubt. But as long as it's for the Queen's safety, I will stomach as best I can.
For what it's worth, I will personally see to it that you are not taken advantage of while you are in our care.
Yes, the less I am spat upon and the less stones are thrown my way, I will be very pleased.
We are going to do our best to not move through any major population centers on the way back. I think it would be best for all of us.
Oh, are we not? So we're sticking to the roads, though, yes?
No, probably not.
Oh, okay.
At the very least, we'll need to detour around major settlements along the way, because we don't want to cause a stir.
It'll be like camping, I guess. Yes, Thistle?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, what fun.
All right, I don't think we should
And,
waste any time. What time is it?
It is probably early morning.
Okay.
That misty harbor, as you are docking, is nicely shrouding the presence of your weasel, but
Nice.
not for long
No.
once you leave.
Yeah. Let's not burn any daylight. Let's start getting out of town and make our way up to Lockhaven best we can.
All right. Well, you leave the boat. Skexal and Moira waving. Skexal holding. I mean, oh my God! Reverse that. Moira holding Skexal up. Oh my God! Can you imagine just Skexal like bench pressing a parrot? Oh man! And you have successfully tied up the weasel to some extent. But pretty much immediately, you notice there are running mice to and fro, not in panic, but in clear concern. And by the time you reach the gates of Shorestone, well, there's a contingent of guards waiting for you. And they hold up their hands, and one of them steps forward, a very broad-shouldered female. And she says, "Stop.
Can I help you?
Where are you? And what did you just pull into our harbor?"
I am Patrol Leader Thane, and I am coming back from a important mission for the Mouseguard. We simply needed to land our boat, walk through your town, and no longer be in it.
That's good to hear. And what is this beast of yours doing?
It's a captive. It has important information to give us about a delicate political situation.
Well, in that case, Shorestone would be happy to ensure that you are escorted. In that case,
To
with such a
Lockhaven?
to your destination. Yes, we would not want this creature to be let loose. I certainly believe the Mouseguard is capable force, but a loose weasel in the wilds would be very, very bad.
Well, if you believe we are capable of force, then you should believe me when I tell you that we are perfectly capable of handling this single weasel who is already under our power. We don't need an escort. In fact, this will hopefully be the only settlement that we travel through before making it to Lockhaven.
Although we would appreciate a cordoned path through the city so as to prevent anyone getting too close.
I would say make a persuasion check. One
Like
of
it.
you.
You want to do it?
No.
Okay.
I'm here
This
to
will be
help
obstacle. Oh, that's right. He did have a good helping roleplay moment. I do think persuaders are.
I'm a
versus
persuader. I've got
checks.
3 dice in persuader.
Yeah, I will assist with deceiver.
Okay.
I will
Very
assist
well.
with Persuader as well.
Okay.
Very well.
So we're up to 5 dice. What's the obstacle?
It'll be a versus check, and I'm going to roll for them right now. Right now.
Right now. Right now.
Thistle will assist with their fighter skill, being very menacing towards our good friend Rockshaw, who's playing along, I'm sure.
Yes, he cringes, his back arching into a perfect arch. Aha! You did it!
Yay!
This is why I hate versus tests. My dice are cursed on roll 20. She nods and sort of revels in Thistle's demeaning aggression towards Rockshaw and says, "All right, then. At the very least, you have its weapon
Yes.
well secured.
And it will be
Recently-
the first to pierce its flesh should it attempt to escape.
With the scimitar?" She says.
Slice its flesh?
There you go.
Okay, thank you for being horribly pedantic.
Well, some good humor will get us through this just fine. If you
Indeed.
go towards the western end of the city walls, you'll find a much more cloistered set of weeds that will guide you into the wilderness. You would be best to avoid the most northern road.
Of
That
course.
way, people on the road won't come running to us and demanding we kill you.
I would
mean,
prefer that
you,
not happen.
You,
Yes.
Weasel boy,
Oh.
Weasel girl. Should I check?
No,
No.
it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Best of luck to you.
Thank you. We will be out of here as quickly as we can.
Excellent. And you are. Now you just need to get through the wilderness. It is going to be... I'm going to be honest. You got Root Wallow to sneak past. Then you've got a big chunk of wilderness if you want to go between Copperwood and Blackrock. And then skipping past Ivydale as well. So do you want to draw your route?
Yeah. So my thought is, we actually kind of go like this.
Like what?
Ooh.
It is the shortest path that doesn't, and we can even even where we're not, we can where necessary take the roads, and that's why we have him prisoner. Otherwise, it doesn't matter, right? It's just that we need to not be on the roads near towns. So if we're like, hang on, if we do like this, right? Or even if we have to, if they let us out this way, so even if we have to come around like this, right?
Yeah. You'll be crossing a lot more roads if you go through there. Yeah, these lines are roads, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was my thought, is like, we don't have to not take the roads if we're in between places. We just have to avoid population centers. Right. So it's not like we're going, lots of it can be on road. In fact, the second half of the trip can be on the road, right? It's really avoiding Root Wallow. And then anytime we pass someone, if we do well enough, we can hop off the road in time. And if we don't do well enough, we can try and talk our way out of it by going, no, he's a prisoner. Look, we're obviously on our way to Lockhaven, and we're obviously Mouseguards. These are our roads. F us off. Stop talking to me. Yeah.
That is well logicked. Yeah. So this is going to be, from the looks of it, possibly a week's journey, because there's going to be some weather. Unless someone wants to have a fun weather watcher.
No, I think I'll be fine with whatever the weather is, despite this obvious opportunity for me to use a skill that I have. And I would like
weather
to take
magic.
I see.
I feel like there was some irony in there or something. Sarcasm.
So we
maybe.
think the weather's going to be what? Why would it slow us down?
There's going to be some storms. You guys are lucky that they didn't pop up during your ride through the waters of Venn, but tragically, they're going to instead sweep over the territories as the cool air begins to collide with the warm air, and it'll be loud, noisy, and scary, and wet.
It would be were it not unseasonably warm.
Reminds me of my first time. Loud, noisy, scary, and wet. Yeah.
And unseasonably warm also?
And normally warm, I think.
And this just turned weird right now. Okay.
All right.
That was the weird one?
I know.
Okay, so
here's what we'll do. I'm going to roll for Spring. Spring got 2 successes.
Winter, spring,
I want it to storm, and you want it to not.
Yep.
Let me see it. Whenever you're ready.
So weather watcher plus unseasonably warm weather-wise. Anyone want to help?
What can we help with on this one?
Scientist?
No.
Scientist I can help out with.
I don't know if you could labor your way into this thistle.
I don't know, but I could certainly use my knowledge of harvesting that I got from my parents to know that the weather is actually going to be quite warm. It's a perfect night to have a bonfire instead of harvesting the grain.
And I could use my survivalist to talk about how you know when storms are coming because of the way the leaves change. Sometimes they turn over, sometimes they don't.
This is like, I hate that the book says one thing and then you guys say something completely different. Sure, let's go with that.
Wait, you're the storyteller. Tell us if we're full of shit. Our job as the players is to get over as much as we can in a fair and story narrative way.
I may be the storyteller, but I am not a scientist. I am not a meteorologist.
Fair. The leaves do actually like flip over when rain comes. That's for real.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's not a lie.
For success.
Impressive.
I'm not making it up. I
You were
promise.
scared that there might initially be a flash flood if such a storm were to fall upon you, but it's actually just some rambunctious clouds that make your first 2 days quite cloudy, but the rest of it is a toasty day. A little too toasty for the queen's sake, but Rosaria is taking this in stride. All right, we have the
feel like-
Pathfinder check now.
Thistle
Let
is like
us-
bringing her water and stuff, like really like treating her like a queen.
She's like
As
laying it
she
on
should
thick.
be.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she's gonna give you promotion.
All right. Well,
She's gonna knight you.
I have a Pathfinder 5. I have Direction Sense.
Ooh, okay, here we go.
I also have Pathwise.
Nice.
I will assist with cartographer.
This will be 5. Obstacle 5.
I'm at 8 dice right now, so I'm likely to fail.
I will also assist because I have Pathfinder, and I'm sure you'd love to
Nice.
teach me about finding paths.
I would love to teach you about finding paths and why not to suck up to queens who are technically under arrest. Yes.
Okay.
I might put my nature into this as well. I'm at 5-4. I could
I
use.
could assist. I'm trying to think if I can bullshit my way into this.
By all means.
No, I'm just trying to think if we're gonna try to find the most. Oh no, I don't know. I'm trying to think of working my insectress into this.
Ooh, that's a pretty one.
I'm trying to think of my way to work my way. I guess like could I somehow examine the local fauna as probably the most as a way to determine the more efficient routes?
Yes. I
'Cause we
will
did-
tentatively say okay.
I like it.
Tentatively.
Tentatively?
Yes, it will influence the following results,
Interesting.
but I will accept this.
Do I want to put my nature into this? I'm at 10d6 and it's an obstacle 5. What do you think, team?
Obstacle.
Obstacle. Yeah, yeah.
Nature lets you do what?
Add 5 more dice.
Yeah, I would do that.
But I lose one until I can recover them.
Oh no.
I mean, we're trying to get to Lockhaven.
It is
Where-
home and it's like the most important. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. And I literally fulfill my belief by doing so. So yeah, okay. Yeah. By getting us home safe, I actually that is my belief for this session. So yeah, let's do that.
By the
Okay.
way, did we ever pick goals?
I mean, that was my goal for this session.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Thank you. Jeez.
I picked my goal. My goal was get us back to Lockhaven safely. And 8 successes.
8.
For the purposes of not metagaming, I could just keep my goal as it was, assist Thane in whatever.
Oh
his plan is.
no, it's all right if because your goal should involve what you want to do on your way to Lockhaven as well as what you want to do when you reach Lockhaven. So I think if everybody wants to sort of discuss that, then what you want to accomplish, I will be more than happy to allow that.
Keep
For sure.
Weasel safe on the road.
Nice.
I
And
want.
I made a promise. I'm going to keep it.
I like
That's
it.
true. I like it. I think I want to find some sort of assistance that we can or some way we can help out Gauss, since we kind of left him behind.
Valid point.
Oh yeah.
He is still there.
Thistle's goal is to protect the queen, no matter what.
I like it.
Fascinating.
All right.
I try to kill the queen. No, I'm totally kidding.
Throw down.
Let's go.
Throw the queen in a ditch. So, the travel is brief because you guys are well versed in traversing such territory.
It's like
And not
home
only
territory.
that, huh?
It's like home territory.
That's a good point. And you are heading back towards Lockhaven, your technical home.
Yeah.
So, upon reaching Lockhaven, which you will, you're able to avoid people on the road who might have freaked out. And not only that, you were able to give Rakshal a little bit of a few moments during the night where he could get out of his ropes and just sort of like stretch and all that.
Yeah. Like even when we're like not on a path, I felt like he probably wouldn't even need to be wrapped up. It's only really for the second half of the journey where we might actually pass somebody when we're on the road where I felt like he might need to be tied up.
Yes. So, Lockhaven
Not
awaits
trying
you.
to be a dick. I have a question about that. Before we get to the gate, I would ask the party to like hold back a little bit
Oh,
and let me approach the gate by myself first. Because I want to tell them that we're
Excellent.
going to be walking in with a weasel and the Queen of Venn. Yeah. And not just
All right.
like pop that on everyone.
Bing! We're here.
I walk up to the
So
gate.
you approach the gate of Lockhaven. Lockhaven is a beautiful citadel, sort of built into a outcropping of rocks that are covered with vines, and there is a beehive accessible by this this location. And the gate remains closed, but someone pokes their head out. A brown mouse with what looks like a cool little like cap snugly fit over their head and ears, sort of leans out the parapet, the window, and he greets you. Well, hey there, welcome to Lockhaven.
Hey, Patrol Leader Thane, I'm wearing a cap now because you mentioned it. So.
Oh, that's great. I was about to ask, who is on the way in?
Could I talk to your captain?
No, because I technically don't have a captain. There are lots of captains here.
Who's your watch commander?
Well, how about one moment?
And he
Who is
ducks
your
back
more
in.
appropriate boss? Whatever the type. Yes.
Okay.
Can I speak to a manager? That's what you're trying to say.
Take me to your leader. Not like your leader. I know who she is, but the leader above you, leader.
Yes, he goes and demands Gwendolyn's presence.
Hey, Missy, I need help.
Nope. Another mouse, this time with a helmet, like an actual warrior's helm,
I don't have one
sticks
of
his head out and says,
Yes. Patrol leader
those.
thing.
Yes. Hi. Could I talk to you without shouting at you on the wall? Would you be willing to come down here and speak with me real quick? I'm obviously not gonna. Why would that be weird? Can we talk real quick?
Well, now you're making it a little weird.
I'll come up there if you want. I don't care.
Patrol
I just
leader
I don't wanna
thing,
yell.
where is your patrol?
They are. That's why I want to talk to you. Can we not yell?
Very well.
He comes. It takes a few, like a minute or two, for him to come to the base of the gate, and he's there with 6 other mice, all of whom are armored.
Sure. Yeah. I walk right up to them, pretending to not be
okay.
afraid.
Okay. He says in a low voice,
All right, what the fuck do you want?
So we're coming back from patrol. Part of our patrol was to figure out what the hell was going on with the whole bee situation down in the southeast. And, well, we have a weasel under guard and the Queen of Venn with us. The rest of my patrol is watching them out of sight, but I didn't want to cause a stir by just bringing them in without letting everyone know.
Okay. This is a
Dick
little.
about it.
Yeah. Thanks.
and he introduces himself. I'm Watch Captain Willow.
Pleasure to meet you, Watch
This-
Captain Willow.
Yeah. Here's what we're going to try to do.
Mhm.
I'm going to open the gates.
Sure.
Contingent is going to escort all of you in.
It's fine.
Now, the weasel is going to be appropriately taken to a secure room, just in case.
I can vouch for the weasel in that he will not be violent. And that his
Persuader
life
check?
is sworn to this. Yes, okay. His life is sworn to this this queen, who is a mouse.
He came willingly. Oh, I'm not there.
Here we go.
I was gonna say, I got 3 successes on 3 dice. Nice. This is
Sounds
gonna
like an
suck.
upstanding gentleman, this weasel.
As far as weasels go, he's been nothing but honorable.
All right, and at least the single weasel would be pretty stupid to cause some trouble in the center of Blockhaven.
That is what I thought as well.
So, what queen are you speaking of? I don't.
She is the leader of the island of Venn. There's a long political story that we need to debrief with Gwendolyn. The basics are that factions on that island have been attempting to appropriate land from the free cities, the free towns here on the mainland, and in doing so have weaponized bees and are trying to corner the market on queen bees after the recent unpleasantness.
Sounds like your patrol got tangled up in a real thorny bush here.
That is correct.
All right. We're still doing this my way.
You
Weasel
are the
can come
guard
in.
captain. I follow your orders.
Make sure that everybody here understands that we're still under control of the situation.
Indeed.
I'll send a runner to alert Gwendolyn, and she'll... I don't know her itinerary for this morning, but she'll do her best to meet with you as soon as possible.
And that is all we can ask for.
All right. And he does so.
Yay. I go back and tell everyone, hey, guard captain's going to be in charge once we go in the city. Everybody come up, be cool. I don't think they're going to keep you in a jail. My weaselly friend, I think everything should be okay.
Can I take these off then?
I would,
Not
for the
yet.
moment, keep them on.
Yeah. And Queen Rosaria says, can I piggyback him now?
No. Why do you... No, that it would not be appropriate at the moment.
Yeah. He starts going,
You have done so well traveling cross country over the last week. Only a few more steps to go until you find comfort. I promise, Queen.
excellent. Camping was, not what I expected.
Indeed.
You're a total natural. And I slap her on the back.
Slap
She does
on the
that
edge.
like over exaggerated. Ooh! And it's just, yeah. He's like, ah. And 12 guards approach with Watch Captain Willow leading them, and they guide you into the gates of Lockhaven. Lockhaven being a very impressive establishment of justice and commerce and professionalism, is a little bit icked out about the presence of a weasel, but the way he stands is he is now presenting himself not as sort of a groveling prisoner, but he is sort of walking with almost a leonine grace. Now that he is no longer bound and he has the queen walking before him, even though she is kind of like starry-eyed as she's like, oh, wow. This is exceptional. Not as good as the palace, but it's good fortification.
Yeah, we have no need for palaces.
Where does your matriarch sleep?
We don't have a matriarch.
Yes,
You do have a
we
matriarch.
Well, I guess
fucking
we-
do.
I guess we have. Well, the
That's
guard
literally
captain
her
has,
title.
the guard captain is a matriarch, but do you mean the leader of our people or the leader of the guard?
Gwendolyn is literally the matriarch of the guard.
Yeah, of the guard. Okay, sorry, I misinterpreted that as like our queen. I didn't think she would. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
that's how she's understanding it,
yeah.
clearly.
We don't have a stratified ruling system. That's probably
Yeah.
a better way to put it.
Yeah, that is correct.
We absolutely do. It's called a military structure.
It's
Yeah.
there.
Okay, it's
Well, besides
complicated.
that.
We're not ruled the same way you are, but the person who leads us as the guard lives, and I point at wherever she lives.
I
We
see.
serve willingly, not by fascist fiat.
Wow.
Okay, let's just everybody stay cool right now. We've made it this far together. I think we can
This'll,
make it
like,
like 100 more steps.
Distracts the queen by pointing out their favorite places to eat, where to get honey buns.
Good.
Nicely done, Thistle.
Yeah, that de-escalates it quickly. She's like, yes, we should distance ourselves from the goings-on. It's been quite stressful, I imagine, for this old fur. Well, the Gwendolyn, yes. And the guards lead you to Gwendolyn's office, which is settled into the uppermost part of Lockhaven, in which she has a great library, as well as several resources used to sort of designate operations within the Mouse territories, which includes a big map that has all sorts of tokens and figurines designating what mice are where and what type, and all sorts of operations that may be underway, and even just, some mail that needs to be delivered. It is more cluttered than usual. Some of it is even on piles of the floor, where you can see little chairs have been set aside with various scrolls and maps, and oh my, what a dexterous cat, and other tidbits of information you might not particularly understand. And Gwendolyn, standing at the edge of the table, seemingly pumping herself up. She's got a boiling pot of tea with a big dandelion sticking out of it, and she sort of like takes a ladle and dumps it in, like even more, and looks up and says,
Matriarch.
this is good to see. And she walks over to you, Thane. She says, excellent work, Patrol Leader Thane. It's good to see you again.
Thank you. It's been quite the journey. Everyone did very well.
Yes, mission accomplished. Several missions that I did not have the opportunity to give to you. Come, sit down. We shall get down to business. You are, this must be Queen Hellison.
Yes,
And
of Venn.
the Queen says, you can simply Rosaria for now, Matriarch. It's a pleasure. Your patrol has, I suppose, rescued me from a dire situation within my country. We would be most happy to discuss what happens next. And the Queen nods and says, yes, it will be a focus of this meeting. Let's have a seat. Does anybody need... And she very, very briefly examines the big weasel trying to work his way into the... He's got like half his body in the room from the doorway. Yeah, it's like... and like you could see like over his haunch, this guard for Gwendolyn's office is just sort of like...
I will sort of stand in front of him.
Okay.
I
And
will-
On. Patience.
I will start, but Stroud is going to need to fill in some of the technical details for me.
I see.
The queendom... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, the kingdom. Let's start there. Could we speak of Venn, its history as is, relevant to the current situation, and what has brought you back?
Yes. So to start, and anyone can feel free to pipe in if you feel like I have missed any details. Don't rely on me for the whole story of my party. The Queendom of Venn is a religious country that is multicultural, in that it has, it openly allows and respects creatures of all types and is not a single racial society such as ours. The core concern with it, however, is they choose to recognize a pretty strict caste system in which those of specific predilections are given different flowers to wear in order to, or petals or flowers to wear in order to designate their place in society.
I like it as a reward system
Yes,
for those who prove themselves adept in various titles of functions of our society.
It's also easily counterfeited and lends itself naturally to abuses.
Indeed. Beyond that, they have a single ruler, as you see here, ruled by a council. That council has since taken over.
I'm advised by Lord Krotik and his daughters.
Yes, which I was getting to.
Thank you.
Lord Krotik is essentially the religious head of Venn, and his daughters are the prophets, for lack of a better term, of that religion, each existing in their own tower. And is it fair to say they rule over their own part of Venn, or is it?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah. And each ruling over their own part of Venn, so they act as intermediaries between the queen and the people. They have led the queen astray, I believe, and the queen herself is not as guilty of some of the issues that Venn is presenting with us, I think, as Lord Krotik and his daughters are. And I'm going to, this is where I'm going to need Stroud and Thistle probably to talk a little bit more about it, but I can start the conversation by saying that the Queendom of Venn is attempting to, for lack of a better term, take over mainland territory, using as leverage bees and using as a veiled threat killer bees that they are able to trigger and cause significant damage to people and populaces. We've seen this a little bit in action, but Stroud and Thistle...
Gwendolyn leans forward and says they're able to weaponize these insects you speak of?
Yeah, I'm going to step back and let Stroud and Thistle deal with this part.
So your queen, in this case, with the situation here that lends itself. So as of right now, one of my colleagues and also a fellow Spruce Tuck Mouse, Gauss, I was lucky enough and fortunate enough that I was able to bump into him. But in reviewing a lot of his work, we came to realize that not only is it that we are weaponizing a lot of the bees, or the queen bees of that situation to be specific, but they are mass producing. So we're not looking at just a actual physical threat, but an actual economic threat to majority of the kingdom itself. I think part of it is that they are attempting to corner the market and also use them as sort of a Trojan horse to weaponize a lot of these queen bees to the benefit of the kingdom of Venn.
Well, that makes sense considering all of this. And she gestures towards the map and says there's been shortages all over the territories.
You're correct. And I think they are taking advantage of this situation right now. And I will be honest, in a situation like this will be when we are the most vulnerable, and I would take advantage of the situation to figure out how best to encapsulate the weaknesses. And the best way in this situation is attacking our supplies of bees.
It's devious, I'll admit. Sorry, Rosaria. This is distressing news. Could your colleague Goss coordinate with Lockhaven scientists in this case?
Absolutely, and I already have some initial knowledge that I can help coordinate with the scientists here.
We have his notebook, don't we?
We do.
Mm.
So, and we can start looking at alternative ways to counter this measure.
Good. All right.
I
What
would like
else?
to speak in here to point out that the queen herself, as we've mentioned, has been misled. However, while that is true, and the influx of bees is targeted as an attack on both our economy and our people, she has been working to try and uplift us as a culture. And by using these bees to allow us to help ourselves, I think it is important to acknowledge this, as there has been a lot of
hearsay?
assumptions. Yes, thank you.
I don't think she's trying to use the bees to lift us up at all. I think that's a point of debate. That is one interpretation, but I don't think it's the right one. I don't necessarily think it's a fair one.
Should I think this can all be summed up with Sandmason and the situation there. Matriarch Gwendolyn, the situation with Sandmason and Shorestone was really the focal point of my interaction with the mainland. Initially, I had simply been content with the operations of many of the spiritual matters in Venn, as well as ensuring that our island was happy. When I realized Sandmason was very almost helpless in their future endeavors and their ambitions tied down by Shorestone, I felt like it would be a wise thing to extend, if not our goodwill, our authority, to give them, the freedom to pursue that which they desire, to become a town of themselves. But clearly, it is one step too far. And
you said it in your own hypocritical words. Give them the freedom and extend your authority? What is... Your own mind can't even speak it true except in a nod. Your authority gives no one freedom.
I'm not going to argue this point. I saw the potential for conflict to break out, and I stepped in to try to...
A conflict created by you...
And Gwendolyn doesn't speak immediately, but she does sort of give a nod to Thane and a little tap of her paws on the table and says, "It is clear that the situation with Sandmason is volatile, but that is the purpose of the territories. Mice are allowed to work out these problems themselves. If it turns violent in any means, we are there to help stifle such things. At the very least, you should have given us some discretion." So, where do we stand now? The daughters and Krotik are running rampant, apparently?
Yes. And they are not mice, by the way. At least in the main. I'm not sure if any of them... Are any of them mice?
The queen says, "Yes, we have one mouse.
Yeah.
You killed her."
Oh, well. What are you going to do?
The others are... Well, we did have a fox. There's
Kicked them out.
a possum. Yeah, she was kicked out. The opossum, the matron of the night, also kicked out. The others, they're varied levels of loyalty. I feel that Maravon, the kestrel, is by far the most adamant towards loyalty. She channels the spirit of mice as their ingenuity has caught her keen mind, and we have lots of good things in her repertoire. I believe the rest of you were involved with Maravon, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know what's happening right now. I just know that the people of Venn are suffering, and my purpose here is to ask you for help.
If I may, Gwendolyn, we haven't heard from Finn yet, and he has been nothing but helpful and thoughtful during this, and I would value his thoughts before we decide on any course of action as well. With your permission, of course.
Oh, I would be more than pleased to have everyone's input, even young Tendapar here. And she has done remarkably well from the brief reports I've had.
Yes.
Or he. Because it's Thistle Bristle. And Finn, she turns to you.
My feelings on this matter are mixed. On the one hand, they have created a society where a wide variety of different beasts, often those that would be considered predator or prey to each other, are capable of mixing and mingling successfully. On the other hand, they've created a caste system that is designed to make the rich richer and the poor poorer, though that may not be their intent. It is, I believe, the inevitable result. As far as the bees are concerned, I think that the queen is shielded, inoculated, kept away from the actual results of the orders that she believes she has given. I think she is receiving very poor intelligence, very poor advising. I think she is being lied to and deceived on a regular basis, and that things are being done in her name without her awareness. I think that there are other people in her country pulling the strings and acting on her behalf, or rather acting in her name, but without regard for her desires or intentions. And I think that they're doing so in a naked power grab.
With which you hear a voice still in the doorway as Raksha says, "Speaking as the Queen's bodyguard, it is true. She is naive on many of the things that occur beneath her notice. And I played a part in ensuring she was not around when certain discussions were held." Okay. This is a lot. What is your
Indeed, madam.
recommendation? All of you know of this situation much better than I do. You've been to Venn. You've experienced what I imagine to be a harrowing experience.
Well,
I can only hope that we're not too late to act.
we need to settle the situation, and I believe a couple of things. I believe we need to work out some kind of treaty that requires Venn and anyone else who chooses to interact with the mainland territories to do so fairly and to not attempt to put any of them under their rulership or their thumb, and to not attempt to divert trade fairly negotiated, which is the two major problems at issue here, and also to ban any sort of pheromonal weapon technology that could cause mass destruction to our communities. If those things can be agreed to, then I think we should find a way to help depose the religious fanatics who are currently running that place and have taken over for the queen, and re-put the queen back on the throne, and ensure that good and long-term communication are kept between Lockhaven and the Queendom of Venn to ensure no further misunderstandings. I don't know how everyone else feels, but that's what I think.
If I may, madam.
You may.
I have noticed that while we have spent much time speaking about the lies and deceptions and the Queen's inability to see how she was being misled, I would hasten to encourage us to remember how we got here. Indeed, my very own leader of this troop used subterfuge and misled many, many people
Proudly so.
with outright lies to get us to where we are. Should we go forward trying to create some system of mutual respect, we need to be truthful.
These two things are
completely.
not germane to each other. One is about the leadership of a country, and one is about ensuring a patrol survives. That you equate these two shows your youth and shows your inexperience. Were we to have a diplomatic relationship, of course it would be treated openly. Of course it would be treated truthfully. But to ensure your safety, the Queen's safety in getting here, the safety of the Queen Bee that we shepherded to another town, of course I would lie, to protect each and every one of you, repeatedly over and over again to anyone who got in our way. That is not wrong.
And so you would suggest that our matriarch, Gwendolyn, lie to protect all of us.
No, I didn't say that. I said a fair and open treaty in which we created mutual understanding. What does that have to do with lying?
This all boils up and down, sir. If you start lying to save us now, taking bees
Who's
that
lying to take what?
you stole that bee.
We delivered the bee that was rightly promised.
And that promise was changed. It was a contract.
Thistle, that is enough. If you have an issue with the actions that we took on patrol, then we can have that discussion some other time. But that is not the point of this particular conversation. And what you have to add right now is not only not helpful, but is in fact detrimental both to the situation and to your progress.
Sir.
So let us take a step back then. So I believe
I go over and pat Thistle on the back. Sorry.
For what Thane has proposed is going to be the mandatory objectives of this case right here, and I will concur with him. And I believe that we should secure the objectives of this case. So, with your permission, and obviously your assist and your leadership, that we go forward on that.
Yes. My biggest question here is, well, quite honestly, how to get this young lady back on her seat to ensure that she does make peace a viable option for all of us. Rosario looks a little like insulted, like, well, of course.
Queen, you do understand that there are those who have deposed you who wish for there not to be peace.
Well, yes, we'll just have to remove them.
That is my plan. I don't know how yet, but Gwendolyn, I do think that is what we need to do, madam. They need to go away. She needs to be reinstated on the throne.
In that case, I have to consider the options of I will have to get many guard captains in on this. We'll have a special meeting. Unfortunately, I think it would be better if you all were not there.
As you wish.
As I can see, your patrol is not volatile, but very spirited in certain opinions. I would ask you one last question. How much of a battle will this be if we decide war is the only option?
I don't know that we have to do it. I don't think we have to declare war.
For what it's worth, I would warn against a war with this nation. They have...
Yeah, it sounds as though it is one of the only options. They are a nation across an ocean, and it sounds like it is a nation burning itself down at all ends.
Yes, but we have the leader of that nation.
You have the leader of a broken nation. Two of her leaders are exiles that are still there,
Yes.
and the rest are vying for power, one of which you killed in combat. You admitted to it.
Yes. But she was trying to kill us. So, yeah. So here's
My
here's my thought.
concern, Patrol Leader Thane, is how many mice of the territories, many of which I will have to levy from the towns, will die.
None. I think if you... I have a gut feeling. And that gut feeling is, I think if we bring a small group, Thistle, Stroud, Finn, and I, back with the Queen's Guard and the Queen, maybe not with the Queen, but with the Queen's Guard, definitely, we can topple Lord Carrick and his... Crotic, sorry. Lord Crotic and his daughters. And in doing so, create the vacuum necessary to reinstate the Queen. We can show that they are evil. There are assets already on the island I believe we can use in order to make that happen. We do not need to waste our lives on their problem.
Formulate a plan, come back tomorrow, and I will come back with my plan and the guard captains.
Yes, ma'am.
If your intent, just to answer the question that you asked a bit ago, is to formulate a war plan, know that they are not as heavily populated with mice as we are, though they have quite a large number, but they also have fairly sizable populations of weasels, ferrets, stoats, as well as birds of prey, badgers, possums, and a variety of other larger animals that will all fight as one military.
It sounds like a boiling, melting pot of horror.
It's not great. Well,
at least to our natural instincts.
Yes.
Your Highness. No offense. And Thistle, the Queen, just like turns to you with this look like...
Thistle's very much like Longtail sneaks over, like patting her hand, like, yeah.
Stop that, you two. Smack.
Well, dismissed. Get something to eat.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And drink. And find a bed, for goodness sake.
Bath.
Bath.
Find a bath.
I don't think we have the one big enough for the weasel, but I'll see what we can work out.
There's water nearby. Look at it. Thank you, matriarch.
See you tomorrow.
That feels like a good place to take a break.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yes.
Hang on.
No, yeah. Hang on.
Okay.
The moment we get out of earshot of anyone else, I turn to Thistle. Like, while the group is still together. If you have issues, you will air them now when we are not in front of the matriarch, and we will finish this, because we will not continue forward with a trainee who is harboring some kind of long-standing grudge against his captain solely based on what I suspect is a misinterpretation of events.
I have spoken to the captain about his use of deceit. He has said it is necessary. I pointed out to the guard captain that I do not believe we can work with Venn with more lies. I believe this, and I will continue to believe that lies are not the answer to this situation. I will follow my orders, and I have no opinions other than what I have plainly stated.
And this is why I will never recommend you for a cloak. Your inability to see nuance, your inability to take orders without being directly insubordinate in front of leadership, things that by now you should have known.
I requested to speak. I was given permission. I did not say anything that was not true.
But you did misinterpret events. You are not quite understanding the difference between statecraft and what we do. And there is a difference, a fairly large one. I would not go so far as Thane as to say that you should never receive a cloak, but you need to understand nuance. You need to understand that there are shades of gray in what we do, lots of shades of gray. There is very rarely an absolute right and an absolute wrong. I fought in the Weasel Wars. I killed many weasels, and many of my friends were killed by weasels. And yet, on the way here, I made it a personal interest of mine, a personal oath, to protect the life of that weasel. Why? Because I have learned that there is not an inherent evil in an entire species. That sort of nuance is required, that sort of judgment is required for the Mouseguard. And frankly, for adulthood.
And I spoke out of anger. I don't know if I would recommend you for a cloak. I was angry. It would be rash of me to make that kind of decision in the moment.
Thistle, you are talented. You are ingenious in your own way. You are highly skilled. There are many, many things that I value in what you bring to the table. But your judgment, that is what you need to work on. Do you understand me?
You require a yes or no, or may I speak?
Speak.
I am young. I'm not perfect. I had an opinion, and I shared it. It is my belief. You say that I should learn, and I should grow. I do not think you are wrong. I think that if I am not allowed to speak my opinions, that they will never change, or they will never be contested. However,
That's fair.
I felt very dismissed and roughshod.
If I may, the reason I dismissed you so quickly is because a patrol needs to stick together. If we're going to have a story in front of anyone who is our leader, we need to provide a united front. Otherwise, we end up with nearly having an invasion, right? And none of us want that to happen. I think we all agree that the queen should be back on her throne. I think we all agree that we can topple these guys who are in the way on our own. But the minute we create confusion, the minute we create some feeling of dissent, we get locked out of the guard captain's meeting, so we can't, share our opinion with the smartest people in the room.
It's a matter of knowing when to state your case. Your opinion is valued. But just as I did not speak until spoken to, while your opinion was requested in that moment, you forgot your rank and you forgot our structure. If you have an opinion that is not in line with the group, that is fine. I will not tell you that you can't, but you don't air it in there. You bring it up with us.
I am confused how to go forward.
Ask.
I believe that I have done what you said. I was asked to give my opinion. And if I was to guess why we were not invited to the guard council, it would not be that I shared my opinion. And please, sir, I beg you not to overreact when I say this, for it is an opinion that may be wrong. I believe that the way you reacted to what I had to say caused the whole situation to blow up in a manner that the guard captain did not trust you to be able to listen to my opinions.
You were suggesting two our leader, that our captain was dishonest and immoral. You were suggesting that he was unfit, and you were suggesting that his actions were unlawful.
Those accusations were responses to his very forceful attempts to silence me.
And those
Now,
accusations
I
are what
would-
I'm saying did not have a place in that meeting.
Thank you. I would request that, Sir Thane, you think on how your reactions to me saying that truth should be used going forward, which in no way suggests that what you did was specifically wrong, but merely that I think we are not the group that should be going forward trying to fix a diplomatic situation between two extremely large and complicated organisms known as kingdoms.
I completely agree with that. And we all overreacted in the moment. And that's just
Thank
the
you,
truth
sir.
of it. But you understand, I think, where Finn and I are coming from, correct?
I believe I do.
Okay, that's all I ask. We have to provide a united front in front of Gwendolyn.
Do you also understand why I have trouble believing that there should be a, and I quote here, story that we are feeding to Gwendolyn?
Not a story. It's not a lie.
Why did you call it such?
I didn't say we needed to lie. I've never said we needed to lie to Gwendolyn.
I'm sorry, I believe it was Finn. You said we needed to give Gwendolyn a story.
I did not say that.
One of you did.
Okay, so
And
I think the
regardless-
misunderstanding here is that we don't mean a story isn't a lie. What we
Yeah.
mean is that we have to come in combined with shared thinking using the best knowledge that we all have together agreed prior to this. And in part, we could have had that conversation before we went in. I didn't think, however, that it would lead down a road of my actions were dishonest. I just didn't think that was where, I didn't think that was going to be a thing that would happen. And so that part is on me. And I obviously reacted emotionally to that. But in the future, should you feel so passionately, I would ask that you bring it up prior to us meeting with the most important person in our organization. And that we have a discussion like this.
I would like to have a discussion like this before any such meeting, sir.
Okay. That is all I ask. Is it seems like you have some very strong feelings. And if we're all going to be aligned, I just need to know what those are. That's all. And you should absolutely feel free to be empowered. I may challenge you on them because I don't think that lying in the service of the Mouseguard is bad. I don't think that sneaking in the service of Mouseguard is bad. I don't think that hiding in the service of Mouseguard is bad. I think that I do what I do to serve the people here and so they can live. I think diplomats need to be open and honest with each other. I'm not a diplomat. I'm a Mouseguard. I would never even think about trying to negotiate a treaty between two countries because I'm a Mouseguard, right? And those have to be separate things. The people who do that are people like Gwendolyn and her peers. We protect. We do not negotiate with countries. We negotiate otherwise, but you know what I mean.
Indeed.
Yes. That's all. Just open communication between the group is critical, and I did not know you felt as strongly as you did.
I feel like I have been silenced on multiple occasions, sir.
You feel you have been heard now.
I do.
Well, let's start over.
Then can we move forward?
I am willing if you are as well.
Yes.
Thank you, sirs.
Yay!
Great.
I'm exhausted and I'm hungry. Can we go now? Jesus.
That was
so
crazy.
impressive. Poor Stroud.
I think I'm gonna cry.
I'm just sitting here looking at the door, going like,
Oh.
I have a hard time being a character who does anything discipline related, so that's all very difficult for me. And thank you both for being good role players and awesome, and because that's and I feel like I know we're still on stream or whatever, but you know that was tense and weird, and I love
that
you
was a
both,
good
and-
job, all of you.
Man, that
Yeah.
was a scene.
Yeah.
I want to give
that was
like
really good.
everybody persona points now because of that. Like I
Yeah.
know who's got. I got lots of options for the embodiment award. Oof.
Let's
Are
Let's
we
take a
gonna-
bio break.
Yeah, let's
Let's
do it.
Okay. All right. Get on the bet.
Bye.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. If you get a second during break, you should check out one of our amazing sponsors. We're now proudly sponsored by Roll20, the best virtual tabletop for all your role-playing needs. Over 4 million people use Roll20's virtual tabletop to power their favorite games. And with more modules than you can shake a stick at on their new revamped storefront, you'll definitely find something for your group to enjoy. Sign up today by clicking the link below or heading to roll20.net/start/WTTP. Tabletop Loot is an amazing place to get your dice bags, dice boxes, and more. And now you can get 15% off your purchase at tabletoploot.com by using the code WTTPDICE at checkout. Tabletop Loot. Your party starts here. While you're at it, check out our so awesome merch store, So Nerdware. So Nerdware is the place to find all your Welcome to the Party merch and other amazing stuff too. Head on over to sonerdware.com and use the code WELCOME at checkout to get 10% off your next purchase. So Nerdware. It's what the nerds wear. Devin Rue, the amazing mistress of maps, has kindly supported the channel since the beginning and provides graphics for many of our streams. Head on over to rueinc.com to check out some of the best fantasy cartography on the web. Our Patreon supports the creators and producers of the channel by providing Roll20 subscriptions, cost coverage for video hosting, and more. If you want to support the channel while getting podcasts a week early, gaming articles that are published on Patreon first, a shout out during our break, and more, head on over to patreon.com/welcomepartyrpg and throw us a buck or $5. And last, but certainly not least, help out the party. Subs and bits not only support the stream, but also every 500 bits or a tier 1 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a reroll or system equivalent, and every 1000 bits or tier 2 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a crit or system equivalent. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. The game will be back in just a few minutes.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Oh God, we're live. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. What do we do?
We're back.
Play.
We're back.
You play the game.
Play the game. Everybody
All right.
play the game.
We have several ways to proceed. First, Stroud, you can tell us what sort of drink and meal you get, because last thing you said. You also have the issue of your guys' proposal that you will make to Gwendolyn and her guard captain council, those that she will be discussing the current situation with. You will not be present for that meeting, but you will be present for the aftermath when she will consider the following options. So, if you guys want to have that scene, or you want to make roles related to planning your efforts, by all means. You also have the Queen and Rockshall, who he will need an escort constantly because he is a weasel, but he is free to mosey.
Right.
Do we want to talk about what we think we want to propose real quick? Because to me, we're all agreed, right, that the Queen should be in charge and not all of these crazy sisters and Croak. No, Croak's not right. I'm going to say it wrong every time.
Crotek. Oh, yeah. She's not. Yeah. Is she here or no?
Yeah.
She's not here.
Yeah. And that Crotek and the daughters need to be deposed permanently.
Yes. I definitely agree.
I don't agree with their system of government, but that's not really my place to have a say in. I think that the leader of the country should lead her country.
Yes.
And that we should help to clear the way so that she can do that more effectively.
I agree. I also think it would lead to more stability between our countries. So yeah, Queen.
Hi.
The fox in exile. Why is the fox in exile?
Well, Fox wanted to introduce some measures.
What?
Well, measures that involved eating things.
What do you mean eating things?
Well, eating
mice?
Certain individuals.
Oh, okay. So we're not going to have any help there, is what you're saying?
Fox, probably not.
Okay. Is there anyone else in exile who we may be able to call on?
Not that I know of. It's unlikely that Sidwell will be happy to join us again. The opossum.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. Maravan we will have her allegiance.
Still imagine she will be very keen on seeing order and law established once more.
So then here's the plan I propose. Maravan is going to have followers, right? As do you, I imagine, people who are still loyal to you, specifically in the country.
True.
If we can, rally them as best we can and quietly start removing some of the underpinnings of Crotek's power base before moving more openly by using our smaller force as one large mass against a distributed force of essentially daughters who are fighting against each other for the notice and love of their Crotek, right? I think we have an opportunity to come at... I know, shut up. Sorry, that's my cat. I think we have an opportunity to take them apart piece by piece before confronting Crotek with all of the legs of his table kicked out from under him.
I think that's a viable option, but it's also, if you take out, as they say, the head of the snake, the rest of it soon follows.
You don't think any of those daughters would have any interest in taking over the place of Crotek and attempting to usurp your power?
I'm concerned it is less of a snake than a hydra.
True, I guess. But I do think they would rather take power for themselves than fight Krodik themselves. He's
Yeah, I don't
gone.
think-
They'll be more open about their traitorous ideals. I don't know.
I mean, the eventual goal is that we want to remove Krodik, right? Because it's going
And the
just going
daughters,
to
I think.
and the daughters, correct. So I think the ultimate goal is that we want to do that. Do we have a sense before we even go in or further this discussion as to like where the allegiances lie with the rest of the daughters? We've only encountered, I think, 3 so far. Do we have a sense in terms of the allegiances of the others or their dispositions?
She will tell you about the rest of them. So there was Mervyn the Kestrel, who she seems to think is probably the best one to rely on, particularly because she channels the spirit of wolf's bane and mice. But there is Sidwell the opossum, who, to her dismay, probably was the biggest problem for Sidwell was that she was very inclusive. She didn't want any real operations on the mainland. She really hated outsiders from the island.
I'm okay with that.
There is Onan, who is dead now. She tells you that her followers are likely going to, if not join one of the other daughters, will probably join with the fox. And there is Azillis, who is a weasel, and she says that Azillis is particularly devious in that she was really in charge of the operations of the tunnel, essentially, that run under Venn. So most of the construction underground is pretty much controlled by her. Most of her personal ideals were essentially a little bit leaning into the nature of the flower caste system. So that's mostly where her ideals were. And then there's Morvanas, rather. Let me actually give you guys their names in the Roll20. So there's Azillis, who's a weasel. Morvanas, who is a squirrel.
Yay.
Yeah. She's one
Tree
of the
mouse.
more tree mouse. She's one of the more upbeat and zealotous, we shall say, of Krodik's daughters, who really wants to essentially destroy all barriers between species. She sees things as united as possible. So if there was anyone who wanted to unite the territories under the banner of the Queen, it would be her. Particularly because she thinks they're completely mice inclusive. And of course, Rivenon the snapping turtle is an accumulator of knowledge. She, as the Queen and Rockshall describe, is kind of she's the kind of leader who will upgrade and promote within a certain circle. And then at that point, when she's gotten everything that she needs from them, they find themselves pretty much at a dead end pace. Her ambition isn't really there, save for how can we accumulate as much stability and industry as we can.
And then use people and throw them away.
Pretty much.
All of these
She'll
people
find
are
what
awful.
she'll find what you're useful for, and then essentially find ways to exploit that.
What about our Kestrel friend?
Kestrel is a real organizer, essentially. Maravon found ways to become innovative in the operations of Venn. The harbor was not really an operation until Maravan started to think, well, there's a lot of bounty from the mainland that we can, if not exploit, we can get some diplomatic chains going. And not just from, mice from the mainland, but from weasels and other creatures as well. While Rivenon would be a builder and an architect of things that are useful, Maravan was more of a aesthetic kind of creature.
So
she also probably had the second to most loyal followers in that sense.
To me, it seems like we might be able to get Rivenon on our side. Rivenon cares more about knowledge, and so if we can talk to Rivenon and be like, look, we're perfectly happy to one of the things we can talk about when we put this in the hands of the diplomats is knowledge sharing between the groups here and there, right? And so I don't feel like that's a person we have to remove, but it sounds like Morvan is someone who would be part of the problem if they are deeply expansionist and want to, have,
if I may, sir,
control everything. Yeah.
I see where you're coming from with that. However, with ideals such as theirs, perhaps we could instead convince them to work with us based on a future thought that Venn could stand as an example. So, not so much that they would be able to expand themselves through conquest and forcing people, but more make Venn a place other people want to be like, and they might come our way.
I mean, we can try it. My concern is that it seems like my bigger concern. I'm not a politician, but it seems to me like our people who have literally created a scent border to make sure that weasels never crossed, who have fought a war against them, would be slow in coming around to a world in which it was okay to see a place like Venn as an example.
Rakshal pipes in and says, that's kind of the impression that... Actually, what is her name? I lost her name somewhere. Oh. Rakshal says, the first exiled daughter of Krodik the Fox, she had the same impression. The territories would never accept them, and that on the path that they were on, it was sooner or later, there would be a rift between those who could subsist entirely on the land and those who could only subsist on, well, meat.
Yes.
Not only that, but she was also extremely suspicious of, shall we say, the other daughters to a harrowing extent. She did not enjoy playing with especially other species.
Who is this first exiled daughter?
Queen Rosaria sighs and says, oh, that's just Lillian.
Go on.
She was partly the reason why we were able to secure the region in the first place.
Venn.
Yes. It was a very wild place. But when we were able to bring Lillian to our side, she very quickly made it a peaceful place. Crime was mostly due to fear. The rampage that she went on against many of the bandits and other powers of very dangerous animals that we don't believe we could have turned to our side. There were Well, they were skunks. There were other creatures who saw power where we were building, who would have, if not their own converts, their own cults. They would position themselves up as gods.
Hmm.
And
The heron, that was one of the bigger ones.
so you have outlawed this Lily. You have outcast her.
She was very helpful during the beginnings of the kingdom with my mother.
But too violent to continue?
Yes. Once there were no more enemies, she saw them everywhere.
Well, feels like another dead end, damn it.
Unless you could get a big boat and ship her off across the Sen border, I don't know.
We'll keep that in the back of our pocket should hostilities arise with the weasels. But I feel like it's not, unless that in some way that would give us an advantage in the current situation. I don't see what it would be. So here's my immediate, after this conversation, my thought is this. Morvanas feels like they're going to be a problem, but we could approach them. Revannon feels like they won't be a problem, and we should approach them to see if they would flip sides.
Rakshal sort of snorts and says, "You better keep your distance, snapping turtle."
Oh yeah, no,
Okay?
not like yeah. Loudspeaker, one of those like roll up a couple of reeds and talk really loudly through them from far away.
Oh, hi!
And then once we get Marival, either Revannon or Morvanas, if we're lucky, both of them, on our side, then we go after Krotek, and we take him out. And then we reinstitute the queen back on her throne. Thoughts?
After that, we let the politicians come in to help her.
Yes.
I am concerned how we make this look to the people of Venn, as if we are not trying to use our own subterfuge to take power ourselves using the queen as a puppet.
I think that there will be some number of people for whom that will be their opinion regardless, but I think the rest of the job of public relations is better left to the politicians.
I therefore think that before we go through with such a plan as we are proposing, that we have prepared statements from the queen and the politicians to go forward with.
Depending on timing is my issue.
I also don't have my speechwriter.
Okay, yeah, but we can, sure. It's really...
Yeah. She breaks out into this big grin and she's like, "Oh, I had to."
Okay, thank you. If we feel like we can get those ducks in a row in time, yes. If not, then we try to lay low as best as possible, and just be interested mice. We don't wear our cloaks or whatever, and don't count on Venn anyways. And that way, it doesn't have the obvious appearance of somebody else interfering. We are just mice helping a mouse who is queen to become queen again.
There's another angle at this that we need to consider.
What's that?
The bees.
What, like using them or them being used against us?
Them being released simply out of desperation. Whoever currently controls the hives, which I imagine would be Azilus, I honestly think they would rather unleash them in a frenzy rather than lose.
So it sounds like, from what you're saying, we need to remake contact with Goss when we get back. And then our first priority. Yeah.
That should be the first priority. If he can somehow make this.
And then do what we can to negate this. Yeah. And then move on from there.
Sir, I don't believe we've checked since we've arrived back in Lockhaven that cad, Charles the Old, he was starting this research. We might be able to, with Shroud's knowledge, get some sort of information from him that we could take back to Goss.
Yes.
Do you want to try and You and Stroud want to go do that and see if he's here?
I am not excited about the prospect of seeing him again, but should you think that is the best place for me to be, I will do that, yes.
It's good to work with people who you have friction with and learn how to do that.
I can accept that. Thank you, sir.
While they're off doing that, Thane, I have someone I'd like to go check in on as well, if you don't mind.
Please?
What's the name of the little kid I sent here?
Aiden.
Vaden, that's right.
Well, okay, go on. Sorry. Finish up your thing and then I'll try.
Oh, no. You guys have the more important thing.
No. I know before we even like get off, like I wanted to at least pipe in regarding the plans.
Oh yeah.
So logistics wise, or at least just a prioritization wise, because I want the strategist just wants to make sure that everything is all set in stone, at least for now. It's concrete. So our goal, our main priority right now is twofold. First, we need to go in. We need to find allies first with the people that we know that we can somehow convince. So that includes Rivenon and Morvanas. And then the second being addressing the B situation. And Thistle and I will go and try to take care of that portion at least figure out what we need to do before going back to Gauss. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, I would like to take care of the B situation first when we get back there.
Sure.
Just because of how volatile and murderous it could possibly be.
Understood. I agree.
Yeah. So I would just flip those around, but otherwise, yes.
Absolutely, yes. So that's great. So now here's the other troublesome, not troublesome, but more concerning factor from my cases right here, that I assume that they will be anticipating us to come back in some shape or form. We do have the queen.
Yeah. Do they know we have the queen? Because we killed the people who were chasing us.
That's true.
I would imagine so. If they can't find her, then yeah.
They'll just assume that we got away together. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Yep.
We
So
were
how-
also in the room with the queen when we were attacked by whoever sent the ants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also true.
So how do you propose then how we get into a kingdom with a very high profile character, and also work to figure out with the situation with the other daughters? Because I imagine that will require some thought. It doesn't have to be answered right now, but
Yeah. It's going to be stealth all the way, right? Like, it's going to be us having to be as quiet, moving through the populace or through the wilderness as best we can from place to place. Definitely not appearing as guards. Maybe if there's some way we can fashion disguises for ourselves, including and up to using their pedal system against them in some way, and wearing pedals. I think we need to find a way to not be us while we're there, especially the queen.
Right.
Would it be best to contact the Kestrel before going so that they could assist from their side?
Do we have a way to get a message to them? Because if so, then I don't think it would hurt.
That's a question for the Queen and Rockshaw.
Queen and Rockshall. Do we have a way to get a message to them?
Carrier mosquitoes?
Carrier, if we can find a bird, which we can hire for such a task, then yes.
Okay.
My speechwriter may be gone, but I have a very adept letter writing utensil.
Rockshall,
lovely.
we are not as used to treating with birds as you both probably are. If you wouldn't mind helping the queen with a message and working on getting that sent off.
Well, it depends on. Actually, no, I can make it work. I think
Yeah,
I know
we
how
should-
to. I know how to chirp this one out.
Okay.
So before then, Gray, I'm glad that I think we're all in agreement. I want to make sure we address quickly. Thistle, are you in agreement with all the plans laid forward going forward? Knowing and realizing that we will have to use some forms of subterfuge to get what we need to do to accomplish this mission.
I do not see any subterfuge in the way we will be approaching our allies, and sneaking across enemy lines does not offend my sensibilities or feel as if we are working at cross purposes to what we say we are working towards. I am worried about the assumption that we should be bringing the queen with us as opposed to leaving her here where she can be safe.
Yeah, I don't know if we should bring her or not. There is merit to having her there in the moment to seize power, because it took a week for us to get back. It'll take her a week to get there. And so that's a hell of a lot of time. So, but it is also incredibly dangerous, you're right, to bring her with us. So does the danger outweigh the utility of having her immediately available once the plan is complete to seize power? Right, that's the question.
Is there perhaps a compromise where we organize a contingent from Lockhaven to go to Maple Harbor or Shorestone so that she is ready to sail upon an announcement that we will be fighting our final battle X day or some such?
I think that makes sense. We'll just have to make sure, we'll just need to really make sure that we have a way to get in contact with them, right? Like, we need backups on backups for that.
Your Highness, is there something that we can bring of yours that will allow us to convince the other daughters? Because I don't know if there is the full understanding or sentiment that we are protecting you in this situation, that you are safe and in a protection. Is it some sort of crest, a royal crest, or a letter or something that we can bring?
Yes. And she pulls out little tight bags, and they have little strips of what looks like at first red cloth, but then she delicately opens it and holds it out to you, and it actually is a sliver of a dahlia. She says, "From the throne room. Anyone would know what this is on the island."
Okay.
I'm keeping one for myself, though.
It is yours.
As it should be. You've no idea how wonderful it is to curl up with that big one, though. It's massive.
I imagine it's quite comfy.
Fragrant, too. See, there is a good point to the flower bits.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think
so.
Yes.
I'm staying, or I'm delaying.
You're delaying, and we will go back with your bodyguard. Rakshasa. That's not right. Rakshal.
Rakshal.
Sorry.
So, can I throw in another cog, or at least French, into this whole machination?
Sure.
Sand Mason, we understand, is under the watchful eyes of Venn, right?
It was,
but do we know if there's any residual folks that are there that could possibly...
At the very least, there are individuals who are looking to make this transition painless. So I would imagine there would be some merchants there, some ships, but with the drama that's going on, they've either left to help their respective daughters, or they have huddled in, not knowing what the heck is going on.
And then when we left Shorestone, there seemed to be some sort of not scuffle, but some event going on that we weren't aware of before we left. I didn't think we asked any questions on that one. So,
well, I do imagine they're very volatile about the state of Sand Mason.
Mm-hmm. So
it's likely they're having to create some impromptu routes in order to make up the dividend.
Could we then? So would Maple Harbor be the best option, Thane, in your opinion, from that perspective? If we are going to look at where to hide the queen for a temporary measure,
Shorestone's closer.
It is closer, but I worry about the security of the situation there.
Yeah.
There are also many watchful eyes there, as we have noticed when we landed.
Yeah.
So
I think you're probably right.
I would hesitate based on the assumption that there are things going on between Maple Harbor and Sand Mason due to the fact that the original plan was that the bee from Sand Mason was to go to Maple Harbor.
This is a good point. We were attempting to build some goodwill towards them.
although it's a lot longer ways off, could we look at maybe trying Lily Grove?
It's a longer walk.
It's a longer walk, but it is a
much shorter trip. Yeah.
It's a much shorter trip, and I don't think we know of any situations thus far.
It's true. Yeah. I think yes. I think you're right. I think that slices the cheese nicely. I don't know why I used slices of cheese.
From what I've heard and experienced, there is a very noisy vole there that we should avoid.
That vole is great.
All right. Great.
So it sounds like we have our plan.
I think so. At least it's a good one at first.
Yes.
Lots of contingencies that need to follow suit.
Yeah. Don't love it. But it is what it's a big complicated weirdness, so it is what it is. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Thistle, you ready to go on this trip? Well, not really a trip, but it's more just a jolly walk.
I am ready to look intimidating to my nemesis from days of old, yes. Because I keep getting sent on these science missions, even though I don't know science.
Rounded education. Rounded education.
We'll make a scientist out of you yet. I'm slapping the back of Thistle.
Adorable!
Okay. So my memory is fading. Could you remind me again who this person is that we're visiting?
Charles the Old is very old, obviously a mouse that Thistle had encountered previously in their hometown of Elmos.
Yep.
There was an incident where Charles was trying to weaponize bees to attack a bear that had crossed the scent border.
Okay.
They were then captured by us at Shorestone when they were supposed to be sailing over to Venn to assist with the weaponization of bees that was already being pursued over there.
Eaten.
Okay. But I haven't met him yet, right?
Yes,
you've seen his work. Everybody was poisoned.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think you saw him before we shipped him off because we all...
That's right. They brought him back to the camp.
Yeah.
And you guys interrogated him.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
So he was brought back by Thane's old mentor and
your friend
Thistle's ex-best friend, Thistle Bristle, Eid. That's right.
Okay.
And then Vaden left with them as well, with Finn's blessing.
I definitely want to have a scene with Vaden and the Queen before we leave, whenever that happens.
All right.
Together?
Yes.
All these kids. All right.
All right. I'm gonna go on a limb here because parts of me inside is like, because I'm like a freshly new minted Mouseguard really in this whole situation. So I have a little sympathy for Thistle here. I'm looking at this and I'm like, you know what? Minus the sciencey part and everything like that, I'm gonna trust you to start the dialogue for Charles and see, and then I will jump in necessary when it comes to the sciencey stuff. How do you feel about that?
I'm concerned about my own emotional state around it. I am afraid I will be more confrontational than you may desire for this conversation.
All right. So you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take. I'm dragging Thistle to the side, putting it right there, and just like I'm like, okay. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some role play, okay? I'm gonna be Charles, and you're gonna be you. What are you gonna say to me? Let's start this off first.
You're Charles. I'm me. Okay.
She pulls out a knife.
No, wrong reaction.
Hey, asshole.
Why don't we replace asshole with their name instead?
This is
Okay.
just amazing.
Okay. Charles the Old. I am here to ask you some questions on behalf of the Mouseguard. Why the hell are you using bees to kill people?
We're rewinding. You started off really strong. Okay, let's just start off. Let's end it right. Like, hello, Charles. We are from the Mouseguard. We're here to question you. And I think we need to be polite. We got to start off on the right foot because we're not interrogating them. We have to make sure that we're on the right foot. So I would ask, would they be willing to answer some questions?
I do like the initial title of Charles. Let's change it to Charles the Guilty. And then she steps back. She's had her piece.
Perhaps Charles the Repentant. Make him think that we want him to change his ways and get rewarded for it.
Good. Yes. Let's continue with that. Let's try one more time, and we're gonna get this.
Okay. Greetings, Charles the Repentant. I am here on behalf of the Mouseguard to ask you to assist us when trying to prevent calamity. You spent quite a bit of time researching the pheromones of insects so that you could know how to best get them to do things that you desired. We have a similar situation, as you know, in Venn, and we are worried that they are going to use this as a weapon to slaughter thousands of mice, and they will use
We'll bring it back, right? The emotion. Well,
to wage war upon the mouse territories, causing strife and destruction and perhaps quite a bit of death. But with your knowledge, perhaps we could make sure that nothing so terrible happens.
It's a good start.
I'm like basically tearing up and crying. Beautiful.
The queen is giving you a writ of diplomacy.
I should be given a Nobel Prize, damn it. All right, let's go.
That was amazing. Well done. It's nice to just lean back and watch.
So there are jails in Lockhaven. And you see that they descend into the depths of the citadel. And standing at the gate that leads into the, I'd say the cells where they keep prisoners, is a familiar sight. A black-furred mouse named Vaden is standing there in a little helmet and a little tiny vest of leather armor, and he has a club in his hands that is like sort of just like held on his hip, and he's just standing there. And he makes a big smile, but he doesn't move.
Oh, Thistle can't help themselves. They skip forward and embrace Vaden.
You find him to be a very rigid but small column of tense fur and muscle. And he says, "Hello."
And Thistle backs and hello. It is good to see you, Vaden.
And you as well, Bristle and Thistle.
So, you are here guarding?
I am!
I'm very proud of you. You have come up in the world.
I've actually come down into the world because I'm under Lockhaven right now.
Goodness, you are so intelligent.
I only have one question. Are you here to break someone out? Because if you do, and he like tries to do this like whoosh, whoosh, with the club, he's like, "I'll have to stop you."
Good job, Vaden. Not only would you protect your charges, but you would protect them even from me. You are coming along very well. I would never let anyone out of this very, very well-made dungeon where they belong being.
That's right!
It's boring. I'm real glad to see you. Can you maybe pull up a stool and we can talk forever? Because I don't know what time it is.
Well, thing is, right now, I have to go and do very important Mouseguard missioning stuff. However, it is evening time, and once I am done talking to the prisoner that needs to be interrogated, I do believe that I have practically forever to come sit and talk with you.
Good. Can you bring some juice and dinner?
I am 100% sure I can do that.
Okay, great. Because I'm real mad at Rickon for putting me here and recommending I learn to be a good boy.
You know what? Someday you and me, and they lean in closer. Someday you and me, we're going to get Rick, and we're going to put him in a barrel, and we're going to roll him down a hill. He's going to be Rick rolled.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down.
Except they are gonna give him up. They're gonna run him into the ground,
and we're gonna desert him. Never to be seen again.
And I'm like pulling my head into the conversation between the two. I'm like, are we done yet?
No Mouseguard allowed. Only tender paws. And he says, "Do you want to go in?
And do you want to be a Mouseguard?"
Yeah.
It's okay, Vaden. I'll be back. Let's go, Stroud.
Yeah. You go with her, Stroud. And he opens the door.
Nice.
Nice.
All right. Do you want to talk to Charles?
Yeah.
He's in a dark, dank cell. It's pretty smelly. He looks up and is even older than you remember.
Oh, gross.
And he goes,
Who's there?
Greetings, Charles the Repentant.
No! Get out!
I have come to ask you to assist us.
Assist you in nothing! I will never give you anything as much as
Katui, and he spits. And he goes, as much as that.
Perhaps you would be interested in making a name for yourself as a proponent of peace and growth and harmony within the lands.
And he looks to Thistle and gets really close to the bars. And his little whisker nose peeks out and he says,
when I am out of here, I'll show you the true meaning of peace. And it is actually not peace. It is being covered in cockroaches. I will get my lab back and I will make a cockroach serum and I will spread it all over your fur.
Thistle grabs his whiskers and pulls.
and he tries to bite you. And you hear Vaden open the door. He goes, "What? Is there an escape?" And he bangs his club.
There's nothing. Go back to guarding the front of the cell. Everything's under control.
You better let me know, because I will beat him up.
And closes the door, and you hear him like sort of getting pumped up. He's like, "Oh, get him. Get him." And he finally rips away from Thistle, and he goes, "What about you, Science Mouse?
Yes, I remember you. You thought you were so clever. You thought, oh, I can make beetles carry sugar and grain in a cart."
Mouseguard, more like mouse nerd.
Yes. Meanwhile, I am making components of their internal biological sense that only they can smell. And I am replicating it. I create the scent odor, for goodness sake.
You did. And there is no doubt you have the upper hand in the scientific knowledge that is involving that. Can we agree on that at least?
Oh, well, of course. It's good to see someone being so humble.
Good. I'm glad. Now, I am going to appeal to your scientific superiority complex here. And I'm going to ask that you share with us any bit of knowledge you might know in terms of, one, the nature of whatever research you were doing and the progress you've made, also how to possibly counteract that.
Make a persuasion check.
I will.
He's going to try to resist you.
I know. Ethel, can you help me?
I can utilize my deceiver skill to make it seem like Thistle is also vaguely humbling themselves.
4, is that okay?
Very well.
No.
I have 1 persona point left. Can I have an insect-wise, so can I just re-roll all of that?
Actually, yes, you can.
Nice.
I think this is a valid effort.
That was even worse. Why?
Charles is not going down.
Here's the thing.
Epic failure. I love it.
Here's the thing. He gets close to the bars again, but very directly away from Thistle. Like he goes to one side and he motions you over. He goes,
I will tell you something very important. I don't like being in this cell. So here's a deal for you. Ensure that I have a very lenient sentence on whatever terms that gets me somewhere where I can actually do work instead of rot. I will tell you how to destroy the poultry serums that Venn uses, as well as the constructions they use to house their vile army.
You have my promise that you will have leniency in your sentence as Mouseguard.
Very good. What is the most acidic fruit you can possibly get your hands on really quickly?
A lemon.
A lemon. That is the base. Start with a lemon. Make it worse.
Make it worse as a more acidic?
Yes. That will be the starting point of your lesson here. Something that will eat through your very tongue.
We don't have time for lessons, though, Charles. We need to concoct our panacea here and now.
Oh, so dark though. I'm awful thirsty. My brain is so dehydrated.
And I'm like taking out my pouch of water and handing it.
He snatches it and he guzzles it down. And he says,
I'm not a fool. I have very nice back doors to almost every operation I do. The schematics for the housing of their serum that will deploy in an emergency of, let's be honest, an act of war. It can be subverted. Make the concoction that I am about to tell you out of character. And then you must survive delivering it into the queen's mandibles. It's a simple measure of taking over their instincts. Find that which is most important to them and drive it insane. Pretty soon you won't have to do anything but watch the chaos. It might destroy the hive, but that's better than, I don't know. Have you ever had tens of bees trying to sting you?
Is there a way we can do this without any fatalities in the situation? I mean, there has to be a way that we can just purely inoculate any of the potential aggressors within the formula that you and your colleagues have made without having to make enemies of every bee on that island and then also the poor innocent townsfolk.
There is one way. And he gets this large, toothy grin on his face as he pulls you closer, and he whispers something in your ear. And that's probably where we're gonna have to leave off because
Rickroll.
Yes.
Never gonna give you up.
because number one, I have to think of his answer. Because it's going to be a big twist. Because you failed. But think that's a perfect spot to leave for now,
You need
because
the
we're
blood of a
also
royal
reaching that
mouse.
time. Oh yeah.
All the blood of a royal mouse.
But, or I could just make a twist and say Vaden comes in and bashes his skull in.
What?
I defeated the bad guy. I did it.
The hyperviolence.
Vaden, I love you. Why did you do that?
Sick of
He was
Fizzle.
going to poison the well.
Oh my god, Vaden, I'm so glad you went and you found him. Okay,
That was on my list as well.
yes, you will have a scene as well next time. But for now,
Yeah,
let's go ahead and do rewards. Fates for your instinct and belief. Personas for your goal. Did everybody complete their goal?
I completed my goal.
I
I
did.
also completed my goal.
Doop, doop,
Yep.
doop.
So you said fate for belief and persona.
If you're
for
able
goal.
to,
Yeah.
play on your belief.
Well, I believe I helped Lost Mice find their way.
I actually think that I didn't do either my belief or instinct because Thistle's going through changes, and those are probably going to need to change.
I feel like you keep doubling down on your belief.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
the whole conflict at the beginning was Finn and Thistle.
That's true. You make a good point.
I really loved it. So, following that, who do we believe deserves MVP?
I'm gonna go with Thistle on this one, just because you know, a little lesson was kind of brilliant, but that's me.
If I was going to nominate someone, it would be Finn because, like, making sure that conversation happened and being like, whoa. It's a very Finn thing to do.
I'm torn
She's
between
pretty
Finn. I'm torn. God damn it! I'm torn between Finn, Stroud, because B stuff, and Thistle. I don't know.
I could see Thistle for MVP because
Let's do
aside
Thistle
from-
for MVP. Let's do Thistle
aside
for
from
MVP.
getting yelled at, Thistle also went and like accomplished shit.
Yeah.
True. All right. What about Workhorse? Who is a big helper?
Probably Stroud.
Sure.
Mm.
Yeah, I'd see that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, of course, on top of that, we have to have embodiment. Who had really good RP moments, and it is either Finn or Thistle in my book.
Can we just give it to all three other three players? Because it just, I don't know.
I feel bad for Stroud because I stole his best friend. Poor Goss.
I would have still, even with Gauss there, I would
Yeah.
have just been like, I don't know what they're talking about.
I kind of hate this reward and only giving it to one person. It feels
Yeah.
wildly unfair because everybody had great RP moments. I think.
Yeah,
today.
This is a
Agreed.
really good
And I
one.
usually do give it to everyone. But then persona points get filled up so easily. I think I've only just now discovered how to wean you guys from your countless persona points. So
Of which
I
I,
think it's
currently have
okay.
7. Yeah.
oh my god.
I
Yeah,
have
let's
12.
let's give everyone one persona point because we're back from 2 weeks and I feel like we all need a boost to get through this. Basically, you guys are going to try to sell Gwendolyn and her guard captains on this plan next episode. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that. It's
Yeah.
going to be a real big. That's probably going to be a conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funsies.
All right. Are we all set?
I think so.
Yeah. Feels good.
On the whole.
Very well. Let us do our outros.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with us today. And of course, thank you to our amazing sponsors for being amazing sponsors. You can check them out when I type out sponsors. And you can see all of the great links for the cheapy stuff you can get because they love us so, and we love you so. Let's go around and get final thoughts and where else we can find you on the interwebs from the team, starting with Connie. Oh,
Hello,
yeah.
I'm Connie. Oh, yeah. I'm playing Thistle Bristle, and he's getting into all kinds of crazy stuff because he's very, 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 very stubborn. It's going very well. I'm going to be on this pirate play-by post called Adventures at Sea. You can find a link on the Welcome to the Party Discord most of the time. It's fun. Trauma Drama Pirates doing crazy things. I'm also on Twitter. I draw sometimes. Maybe you'll like my art. Check it out.
You can see it on the overlay. It's great.
Yeah. There's a little bitty Thistle and a little bitty Finn, and they're awesome.
So wow.
Let's do Zed.
Hi. Oh, you want more? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Hi, I am Zed. I play Finn. I was grumpy, and I think I grumped pretty well. I run the rapidly rushing towards conclusion D&D 5e campaign here on this channel, set in Ravnica on Mondays from 7 to 9 p.m. Or really, yeah, so
6 to 9.
6 to 9. Sorry, but actually becoming closer to 6 to 8 because of one of our players' schedules. And I was in Shadowrun, but we finished it for now. So,
but we have a new thing coming.
We do, but I don't want to talk about it yet because I don't know that I'm allowed. So
I don't know if we're allowed to or not either.
Yeah, so there's things, and I may or may not wear a bowler hat, and that's all I'll say. Otherwise, that's really about it for me. You can find me on Twitter. My Twitter's under my name there. And I like all of you, and I liked this game, and I'm really glad we got to play again. And today was fun, and I'm sorry I had to run away a couple of times, but this was excellent, and I'm excited for the future.
Yay, Neuro.
I'm Neuro. I play Stroud. I'm doing sciencey things. I'm also, trying to chaperone Thistle right now too. So it's all a group joint effort.
It takes a village.
It takes a village. And we're getting rated.
Thank you for the raid from Corey Hickson. We're just wrapping up.
You can find me on Twitter, Insta, and on Twitch. I do stream, soon on Neurofoyer. I typically stream variety stuff. I will be eventually running an Alien tabletop RPG with 4, I feel this little soon, probably next year. And in terms of the game, this is my very first tabletop RPG, actually. And I am having so much fun. And I'm glad that this was my first scoop. You guys popped my cherry.
Yay! Yay!
Were we gentle enough?
Mm-hmm, you were.
Okay,
good.
It was cherry flavored.
Okay, I'm Throck, also known as Thane. I really enjoyed playing today, despite my own personal weirdnesses with pretending to be an authority figure. I have a hard time with it. I had other words. Oh yeah, you can find me next on Tuesday playing Rifts at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern playing Blades in the Dark here on the channel. They're both good games. You should check them out. And last but not least, our Learless Feeder 4.
It's me! 4! I am here to run not only Mouseguard, but I'm going to be running Alien, as Neuro stated, and that is going to be very exciting because I have so many thoughts about Alien and all of its stories, and gosh darn, I'm also making my own little indie game RPG called 4 Minutes, which is all about, I still don't know how to summarize it. I'm sorry. It's basically Twilight Zone meets, I don't know. I'm working on it. I actually know how to play it now. So
Is it
follow
spelled
me.
FORE minutes?
You know what? I was going to see how long I could go without making that joke. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It is 4 minutes by 4, and that's going to be on the front cover. Okay. It's 4 minutes by 4. It's about 4, and you play it with D4s, 4-sided dice, and
Neat.
yeah, it's going to be. Oh my god, I'm just going to make a whole me talk about what it is, why I'm making it, and why I think it will be fun, and all of the stories and modules that I hope to play and make with it. Gosh darn, I don't know how to tell you how incredible I am about this, and how I'm glad that I finally know how to play it. Okay.
Well, you're just incredible. There you
Thank
go.
you.
You're welcome. All right.
I think that's it.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It's a relatively slow day in the land of streaming, so I think we're just going to say have a good one. I couldn't find anyone to raid, and we love you very much. I'm also tired and not feel like looking super hard. I'm just looking at you streaming right now. I don't see anyone popping out of me. What?
We should raid Dodgeball Canada.
Okay, and with that, I'd like to thank you all well, you know what? Let's go raid Dodgeball Canada, because it's Dodgeball. Why not? We're going to go watch some Dodgeball. Rage Dodgeball Canada.
Yeah, it's mostly high school, but some collegiate level. They have men's and women's dodgeball.
We're going to go watch Dodgeball. So go say hi to Team Dodgeball. We will be out of here in just a few seconds, and we love you very much. So everyone wave and say bye. Bye! Bye! We're out.